Hi everyone. This should be live. Everything on the screen says that it's live, so hopefully it is. Um, Little bit of a different setup today, but I think it should still work. My chair's a little noisy, but hopefully it won't show up too much on that. My camera is in a different spot, and everything's kind of in flux. Been trying to clean up the space back here to get ready for figuring out if we can do some remodeling of the studio space. But look what I found. Planetarium nerds that are of a certain age and beyond might know what this is. Ye old opaquing fluid. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can. I had it screwed on very tight and I did not open this up. All right. It's still in there. It's still good. It's still useful, but I'm going to need stronger hands than myself to get it to open. But it's this stuff that you would use on slides, which are see-through pictures. And I have one in my hand, actually. This is one with me the last time I had shorter hair and was growing it up. Don't worry, you're not going to be able to see it too well. Yeah, not really, unless I put white paper behind it or something. But let's say you wanted just the object that was in the middle of it. I mean, let's say you have a planet, it's round, but you don't want the gray rectangle in space projecting up. That's what we called it, gray rectangle in space, or GRIS. And you wanted the rectangular background to be blotted out. So you would paint on the slide with this stuff that would block out the light. So lots of memories of spending a lot of time with the opaquing fluid. So that was just a very aside there. Going to go ahead and see. Okay, nobody in the chat. Let me see. Make sure it's set for live chat. And okay, so I don't have anybody in there that I see, but I'll go ahead and switch to the monitor view. So looking at the planetarium calendar on the website, which is where we have our schedule, we don't have any more of the weekday matinee programs for public groups. We're now shifted into that phase, that time of the year where things are getting ready for the fall semester. And there's limited staffing at this time as all of those preparations are happening, so we don't have any of those programs. We are scheduled for public programs this Friday night, the 4th, where we would have Prairie Skies, Solar Superstorms, and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Fingers crossed on this, my friends. Fingers crossed, because as of this morning, staffing is far more limited than it was even for this time of year. So trying to make some arrangements. If we're not able to do the Friday night programs, I'll try to have that determined by Friday, and then would try to get the information up on the website. It's a little tricky to do that though, because we have to get somebody else to help with that from the college. But we would certainly put it out on Facebook if we have to cancel for that night. And then we would, looking ahead, I don't know if we would try to just reschedule onto the Pink Floyd onto one of the other nights. That might be an option. I'll be looking at the schedule later to see if that's going to be more doable as we look for other temporary measures for the staffing. So fingers crossed that the shows happen Friday night. But check us out on Facebook to hear the latest. What else? Oh yes. So these videos, these live streams, I set out in the summer to do. I wanted to do 6 of these, and this is the 7th. So bonus. I need a little bonus theme music there. Where was I gonna go with that? So, the idea was this was something that Eric Johnson, our director, had put as a suggestion for something I could do on my last evaluation, which was in the fall, I think, saying it'd be neat to have me do some things perhaps on YouTube, showing a little bit of some of the processes. And there's so much more that I could cover, but I thought, well, this would be a nice way to get sort of dip my toes into it for live broadcasting on YouTube. And so that's what this has been all about, and it's been a lot of fun. And I might be able to come up with another series. Although, as I mentioned, I'm going to be concentrating on rebuilding the studio space, sort of combining an office space and a studio space into one, because I'm kind of split between the two, and they are adjacent. So we're going to try and combine them and have new furniture and different ways of storing things, because it's a very evolved space. A nice way of saying that stuff is just as the things came in or went, just whatever was on hand to prop things up with, or to store things. So it'll be interesting, but it'll also come with some rewiring of the sound studio aspects, and possibly uh, some other restructuring of how I'm able to do video, because I'm doing a lot of temporary things right now. All right, so that is that. And what are we going to talk about this time? Well, something that I've had on the list from the very beginning has been showing some. Now, these are fun diversion type things. And I'm going to go ahead and show you. It's a series of interactive little immersive things from NASA, and they're a lot of fun. They really are. So it's the NASA's Eyes. I think there were downloadable versions at some point. Yeah, I think you can download some versions, but they work in a browser. So as long as you're connected online, it's not a problem. And I'm going to do the eyes on the Earth. There's the Earth. And what we're seeing is data for showing Earth. So here's an area that we don't have the latest images from. Beautiful, the different patterns in the clouds. You zoom in enough, you can see your house from here. Not really. I'm just making that up. They'll have different latest events that you can click on, and it'll take you to more information. Oh, there's the ISS. I'm going to click on the ISS, the International Space Station. And there, it's taken us to to a model of the ISS, and we see it whizzing past the Earth below. So here I'm now more up above. I'm just using the mouse with the left mouse button. I'm getting dizzy staring at that, so I'm going to go ahead and just click the back button on the side there. So it is a lot of fun. There's a menu, and you can get all sorts of facts. It's fun. It's fun. A little bit different than, say, Earth Observatory. So it is a little different. Let me back away from that and go to the solar system one. So the solar system one, there are featured tours that have already been made that you can check out, or you can, let's see, I'll go to Earth in the solar system one, which shows a lot of the same. although it's not, you don't have the gaps in the data because it's not showing the most recently collected. At least I don't think it's showing anything that recent for the clouds. It could be just a texture or sorry, I do need some coffee here. Or something from a different source or previous days. But in any case, you can use it to explore different, well, different satellites, much the way we did in the Eyes on the Earth. I tend to use solar system more than Earth, just because anytime I'm checking out the Earth, I'm often then wanting to check out things that are not the Earth. Hey, let's check out the Webb telescope. Just using the mouse to turn it around and look at it. That's cool. Oh, there we go. It was a default map, and you can look at yesterday's global mosaic if you're looking at the Earth. Okay, that's good. That's good. I feel better. But what I wanted to do was go back to not one of the missions. I wanted just the solar system again. So we could go look at... No, I didn't want to look at Mars this time. Not that there's anything wrong with Mars. Mars is awesome. Although, have you noticed? I don't know how many of you have noticed, but in the evening sky, it's been getting more difficult to see Venus as it sets after the sun. And in this sort of solar system edge-on view, we can see a little bit of what's going on with that. So we have the Earth down here, and the sun has set. There's Venus, there's Mercury, and then there's Mars. And forget about seeing Mars at this point. It's not very bright, and it's, look at this. I mean, it's the other side of the solar system. Venus is super close to us for this trip around. It's just about as close as it gets. And through a telescope with Venus, all you're seeing is a tiny little sliver of its light, but it's closer to us, so it's still really bright. But Venus is definitely on this side of the solar system right now. Mars is on the other side, and Mercury's kind of in between. And so through a telescope, it would look more like a quarter moon, you know, because you see about half of the daylight. So I'm zooming out more there. I wanted to see Jupiter. So check this out. I mean, you can do this. Anyone can do this if you have a browser and a web connection, and you can explore the planets of the solar system and other things, the satellites, the moons. Have to check out IO. Look at that. I mean, this is on your computer, and it's a lot of the same kind of things that we have on our in the planetarium. So definitely want to encourage on that. Another one of the NASA's eyes is eyes on asteroids. I like this part. Yes. All these asteroids. And if you have one, let's see, Didymos right there. And Dimorphos, the one next to it. They are a team. Dimorphos is the one that was slammed into by the part of the double asteroid redirection test called DART, and been measuring differences to its orbit before and its orbit now. And I think it was just last week, there was a Hubble image showing some of the boulders that have been released from it. So studying a lot that can help us figure out if it is possible to keep an asteroid from hitting the Earth by, you know, throwing something at it, smashing something into it. Because you want to make sure that you can alter its course, but not make yourself a bigger headache by, like, you know, splitting it into several chunks that are still headed toward us. So that's what we want to make sure we can do. Also with uh, asteroids, you might, let's see, I don't have it handy. I'll put a link in the show notes, but you can get 3D models of the asteroids that you can then use in different software. And of course, my favorite software is Blender. And I'm going to include a link to one of those sites that I use, but I tried it out and doesn't look it doesn't look good in my dark mode because I have to keep everything on forced dark mode these days. So it doesn't look good in that. But something that I can share with you is not asteroids, not the big space rocks, but smaller rocks. So that's what I'm going to share with you now is Astromaterials 3D. Now this is really, really very awesome. Now, it was awesome before, and then it became even more awesome when they made it so that you can download the 3D models for yourself. Yeah, it's awesome. So, what you do is you go to the Astromaterials 3D website, which I've got the links ready to go, and you can select the moon rocks from the Apollo collection or the Antarctic meteorites. So these are meteorites that have been collected from the Antarctic region, and there's not a lot of other stuff there, so they kind of stand out. So let's go ahead and we'll visit that collection, and then I keep wanting to like click on the planets for this, but it's really over here. You hover over these, they're like right here, I guess. And you can select a moon one or one that would which originated with Mars. So right here, there's this one from the moon, and there's um a lot more samples. I'm just picking this one right here. Um, so let's click on it. I'm going to open this sample. And this is really, really cool. We've got this 3D model right there on the screen, and I'm grabbing it now and orienting it, and I'm looking at it, and um, I think I want some information on this. So let me bring this sidebar over, which I'm now covering up. So I made another version of the monitor. Here we go. That puts me off to the side. There we go. Okay. Now I'm not quite in the way so much. So here I am just moving it around. Very cool. Down here it shows the axes, and I can influence it that way. That's pretty cool. So a lot of information about this particular lunar sample rock. It's not directly from the moon, but it's started with the moon, got blasted away from the moon, and then the pieces ended up falling to the earth. And what we have available, all this information, and then if you scroll down, this is where we can download the model. But wait, there's more. Um, Going to view controls. Okay, this view control doesn't look very good in this view because, well, again, I've got that forced dark mode, but most of it's pretty good. And here you're just moving it around with the arrows. I can change the lighting, add a spotlight to it. If you say have it the way you want it and you want a picture of it, you can click on the camera and it will download for you a screenshot of it. And there I've just opened that screenshot, and that's what it looks like. So it doesn't have all the stuff on the side, but it does have the rock sample right there showing just the way it was in this viewer. Can also, they have little pre-made pins. So if you want to read about this feature, there it shows you right where it is. And you can zoom in. I'm zooming in with the scroll wheel. And it shows you right where it is. And if you're wondering about the green fusion crust right there. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Now this is the part that got me super excited the first time I did it. They've got CT, the computed tomography. And I'm not sure which way I have it here. There we go. So you can look inside virtually. And this is showing those different slices. I mean, how cool is that to be able to do it like that? Oh, I love it. And you can do it for the other axes as well. So I know that's a lot of fun, but let's go ahead and see how to download it. Now, I'm not set up right now for taking the scan data, but there are some links on taking scan data and using that in Blender, but that's not what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to do a model. So for here you see there's a full resolution mesh. I'm not going to download that because I don't want to take the time it'll take to load that. But I've already done the low resolution mesh, so I just click on it and it downloads it. Then what you do is you take the zip file that you download and you extract it to the folder name. And then you go into Blender, and I've got it cleared right here and ready to go. And you go File, Import, and your import selection might be different from mine. I have a lot that are enabled as add-ons, so they might not be in yours, but I believe the Wavefront OBJ option is one that's built in. And I should already have it in here. Ah, there we go. And I'm used to using the defaults. And there I have it. And you don't see it as well. It even comes textured. Let me switch to the shading one because that has different lighting on it. And I just used the dot on the number pad. And it since it was selected, it then made it fill the screen. So now we have that same rock, but in a 3D view. I don't have much of a light set up in this scene, but I can go ahead and render that. I don't even know if it's going to show up in the render. I didn't test rendering it. All right, my camera is too far away from it, so we'll do something different with it. All right, I'm going to make it be very large. All right, so maybe too large. And then we will render that. Or maybe not. Oh, yeah, there we go. Render result. So there we have it. We just downloaded a 3D model of a meteorite that originated with the moon and was found in Antarctica. And we opened it up in Blender, and the way we did it, it brought the texture along with it. And this is something that anyone can do if you have a computer. And of course, Blender is free and open source software. It's available for Windows, Mac, or Linux. And the Astromaterials 3D is totally available, the 3D Explorer. And should be able to I was going to select a different one. I'm going to select one of the asteroid ones. There we go. Lots of different samples. They do have some that only have the XCTs. And what those are many, many images all packed in. So each of those slice layers has an image that goes with it. And some folks have set up ways in Blender to be able to sort of show that as a model so that you end up with all these image slices and then you can view them. So hope that gave you something fun to play around with. And if you have questions about it, leave comment in the just in the comments here on YouTube, or let us know here at the planetarium. And thank you all so much, and hope you have a really great week. Thanks.